off, but it was a good year. After the strike, people were a little freaked out, and
did it trouble you at all during that time? I want to get into our icebreaker and some other stuff, but I was wondering, during that time frame, did you feel like a certain impact or a certain shift? Or were you worried at all? Or were you like, you know what? I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
I've been very consistent since this point in time. Mm-hmm. I think that as soon as it gets back, I'm not even going to be worried.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about that. I don't think anybody expected it to go on as long as it did.
For sure.
I felt people were like, the writers are going to strike. They're going to cut a deal. Mm-hmm. Actors go, and then let's just keep it moving. And everybody kind of drew their line in the sand and was like, well, I'm over here, you over there. Yeah. We'll talk next month. Damn. And it kind of just went on and on and on and on.
I was upset that we weren't shooting this podcast during the strike because I had so much.
You had so much to say?
So much to say about it, and I didn't get to say it all.
But
since I have you here right now.
Say it. Yeah, I want to know.
Do you feel like the whole strike, was there like groups or sides, or do you feel like the whole community was unified? Or is there like certain sectors of, especially the talent side, the actor side, that are like...
Well, absolutely. I think on the talent, and then especially on the writer side, and thank God for the writers, because you don't want to fuck with writers. Yeah. Because especially in terms of the court of public opinion, because they'll frame things and phrase things in such a way they'll destroy. So the writers were a great ally.
You want to be in good standing with the writers. That's how you get the jobs.
That's how you get the best lines, the best scenes.
But also just in terms of the things that were at stake and at issue, these are things that if you don't negotiate them now, you can never, once they're gone, they're gone. Yeah. Certain data points, once you don't cut a deal for that now, you're never going to see that again. You know what I mean? And there was all this kind of history. There was a great podcast called Strike Talk, and they were talking about when VHS came out. Mm-hmm. And
it shook up the industry.
And the producers were like, well, we don't know what this is going to be like. We don't know how to monetize it. Let's tackle this next negotiation. And they were like, no. Yeah. We got to do this now. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I think a lot of it is the same with the streamers, with all the new media, the residual structure, all these kind of things.
So that's really kind of goes deeper into what my question is because there's so many different levels and so many different sectors. Yeah. And then there's different levels of actors, you know? So there's the super blockbuster dudes, and then there's streamers and lower level streamers. So it's levels of what that is. And I don't know if it affects everyone the same, if the strike really affects everyone the same as far as if I'm Dwayne Johnson, does it affect the same person? You know what I'm saying? Does it really affect me as much as it affects a guest star or someone just a new actor that's just coming in to maybe getting a small roles on,
I feel if you were on the end where let's say you're just breaking in or you're booking one or two things a year and you have another job, that one or two things a year may not affect you that much. And also if on your the higher end where you just have loads of money in the bank, it doesn't affect you. But if you're kind of in that middle where that's your bread and butter and then it just stops.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, I just think I just didn't expect it to go on as long. I don't think anybody expected it to last as long as it did, but it's over.
It's over. And
I think
back to work.
The industry's, I did think, luckily, but I think the industry's still recovering a little bit.
For sure.
And everybody's kind of getting their footing again in terms of what it's going to look like moving forward.
It's been slow trucking back.
That's what everybody's saying, and I've been hearing that from a lot of people on a lot of different sides of the industry. So here's to 2025, man. Yeah.